The string quartet's melody floated through the marble halls of the Grand Plaza Hotel as I adjusted my simple navy dress. The same one I'd worn when signing the acquisition papers last week. 25 years of building my empire in silence had taught me patience. Today would test every ounce of it. Name? The hostess barely glanced up from her tablet. Olivia Sullivan. Her perfectly manicured fingers scrolled through the list, pausing with a slight frown. Ah yes. Cable 27, near the kitchen entrance. Of course, I caught a glimpse of my ex-husband Marcus and his wife Sophia holding court at the main table, their designer clothes and practiced laughs screaming old money. Money that wasn't actually theirs anymore, but they didn't know that yet. Mom? Alexander's voice made me turn. My son stood tall in his tuxedo, looking every bit the successful surgeon he had become. They didn't put you at the main table. It's fine, sweetheart. I straightened his bow tie just as I used to straighten his school uniform. Your stepmother probably just made a mistake. His jaw tightened. This isn't right. You raised me alone for 10 years while Dad built his business. You worked 3 jobs to put me through med school. And now you're chief of surgery at 32. I touched his cheek. That's all that matters. Chief of surgery at his stepmother's hospital, a sharp voice cut in. Sophia glided toward us, dripping in diamonds that technically belong to my company now. Though of course, we can't expect everyone to understand the complexities of hospital administration. I bit back a smile, remembering the hospital board meeting where I had quietly purchased controlling shares through one of my shell companies. Sophie had been too busy ordering staff around to notice the quiet Asian woman taking notes in the corner. Sophia, I nodded politely. Lovely venue. Yes, well, she waved dismissively. The plaza has been in Marcus's family for generations. Not that you'd remember, given how briefly you were married. Alexander started to speak, but I caught his eye. Not yet. How could I forget? I smiled. Though I hear the recent ownership changes have been interesting. Sophia's perfectly Botox forehead attempted to furrow. Changes? The plaza belongs to the Harrison Family Trust. Of course. I checked my watch. A subtle Patek Philippe that cost more than her annual spa budget. I should find my seat. The ceremony will start soon. Yes, about that. Sophia's smile turned predatory. Given the circumstances of your involvement with the family, we thought you'd be more comfortable away from the main party. With the other staff. I watched Alexander's face darken and touched his arm gently. It's fine, sweetheart. Go check on your bride. This is your day. As he reluctantly walked away, Sophia leaned closer. You know, when Marcus told me he'd married the nanny, I assumed he was joking. But here you are, still clinging to relevance through my stepson. Interesting perspective. I adjusted my simple pearl necklace, the same one I had worn when signing the papers that transferred ownership of the plaza last month. Though I recall being a doctoral student when I met Marcus, a scholarship student playing at belonging in our world. She glanced at my understated outfit. At least you've learned to dress better than when you were changing diapers. A server approached with champagne. I recognized Maria, who had been here since I used to bring Alexander to visit his grandparents. Her eyes widened slightly. She had been in the staff meeting last week when my company announced the ownership change. Mrs. Sullivan, she started, but I gave a tiny shake of my head. Thank you, Maria. I took a glass. How's your daughter enjoying the nursing program? Sophia's eyes narrowed at my familiarity with the staff. Before she could comment, Marcus appeared. Ah, the help has arrived. He barely glanced at me. Sophia, darling, the Rockefellers are asking for you. Of course, she smirked. Olivia, do try not to embarrass Alexander today. The hospital board will be watching. I sipped my champagne, remembering the board meeting scheduled for Monday, the one where the new ownership would be revealed, along with some interesting discrepancies in Sophia's administrative expenses. The grand ballroom filled with Manhattan's elite, old money families who had looked down their noses at the scholarship student who dared marry into their world. Now they would look down their noses at my seating assignment, not realizing that most of their companies had been quietly acquired by my investment firm over the past decade. I found my table, tucked behind a column near the kitchen doors. My nameplate read former nanny in small plain text, while Sophia's gold embossed card at the main table proclaimed mother of the groom in elegant script. Mrs. Sullivan. Maria appeared again, distress clear on her face. This isn't right. We all know who you really are now. And I appreciate your discretion. I smiled warmly. How's the new healthcare package working out for the staff? It's amazing. Her eyes shone. My husband's diabetes medication is finally covered. We never had benefits like this under the old ownership. I'm glad to hear it. I watched Sophia ordering around younger servers, making one girl nearly cry over a slightly crooked place setting. Things will continue to improve. The ceremony was about to begin. Guests found their seats, many sneaking double takes at my isolated position. Alexander kept shooting worried glances my way, but I gave him my best reassuring smile. This was his day, even if his father and stepmother were determined to minimize my role in it. Ladies and gentlemen, Marcus's voice boomed through the ballroom. Welcome to this joyous celebration. As father of the groom and owner of this magnificent historic hotel, I hid my smile behind my champagne glass. Monday's board meeting would be interesting indeed. We're honored to host Manhattan's finest families as my son joins his life with the daughter of Senator Maxwell. Sophia preened at his side, her designer gown catching the light. The same designer whose company I had acquired last year, though the paperwork hadn't been finalized yet. As Marcus continued his speech about family legacy and proper breeding, I thought about the real legacy I had built. The quiet empire assembled piece by piece while working my way through doctoral programs, raising my son alone, and enduring their condescension. Mom. Alexander had slipped away from the head table to squeeze my hand. Let me say something. Tell them who you really are. Not yet, sweetheart. I patted his cheek. Some lessons are best learned slowly. Now go be the brilliant surgeon and wonderful man I raised you to be. The rest will unfold as it should. As he returned to his place, I caught Sophia watching us with narrowed eyes. She raised her glass in a mocking toast to the help, not realizing she had just toasted her new boss. The first course arrived, carried by staff who now had full benefits and fair wages under my ownership. Soon the entire city would know that the former nanny they had tried so hard to hide owned not just the plaza, but most of their precious family empires. But for now, I sipped my champagne and watched the show unfold. After all, I hadn't built a multi-billion-dollar corporation by revealing my cards too soon. The wedding reception was in full swing when Sophia decided to make her power play. She clinked her crystal champagne glass, drawing everyone's attention as she stood gracefully. As mother of the groom, she emphasized with a pointed look in my direction, I'd like to share some special memories of raising Alexander. I watched my son's face tighten as Sophia launched into stories of his medical school graduation, his first surgery, his hospital appointment, all moments she had merely witnessed while I worked double shifts to fund his education. And of course, she continued sweetly, we must acknowledge the domestic help who assisted during his early years. Olivia, dear, would you stand? Several guests tittered. Maria, serving nearby, nearly dropped her tray in indignation. I rose slowly, smoothing my navy dress. Thank you, Sophia. Though I believe my title then was doctoral candidate, not domestic help. Of course, she waved dismissively. Though let's be honest, changing diapers was more your speed than changing hospital policies, wasn't it? Before I could respond, Senator Maxwell, father of Alexander's bride, joined the conversation. Speaking of hospital policies, I heard rumors about ownership changes at Metropolitan General. Sophia, isn't that your hospital? Sophia's smile faltered slightly. Our family trust maintains controlling interest naturally, though there's been some minor restructuring. Minor? The senator raised an eyebrow. Word is, someone bought out the majority shares through a series of shell companies. Very quietly, very efficiently. I hid my smile behind my water glass. The senator had always been more observant than most of Manhattan's elite. Impossible, Marcus cut in. The board would have informed us of any significant changes. Monday's board meeting should be illuminating, I offered mildly. Sophia's head snapped toward me. What would you know about board meetings? Oh, you'd be surprised what one learns while being invisible. I straightened my pearl necklace. The service staff, for instance, has quite a few opinions about your management style. The color drained from Sophia's face. Marcus, she's threatening me. Not threatening, dear. I sipped my water. Just observing. Like I observe your creative accounting with the hospital's charitable foundation. The IRS finds such observations quite interesting. Marcus stood abruptly. That's enough. Security. I wouldn't, I said softly. Unless you want Monday's revelations to happen today instead. Alexander appeared at my side. Dad, Sophia, you really don't want to do this. Alexander, darling, Sophia's voice turned saccharine. I know you feel obligated to defend her, but really, she's embarrassing herself. No, he said firmly. You're embarrassing yourselves. Do you want to know who really paid for my medical school? Who attended every surgery rotation at 5 a.m.? Who worked 3 jobs while completing her PhD so I could focus on my studies? The ballroom had grown silent, guests openly watching the drama unfold. A PhD she never finished, Sophia sniffed. Actually, I smiled, I finished it last year. My thesis on hostile takeovers and corporate restructuring was quite well received. In fact, I used several of your family companies as case studies. Marcus's face had turned an interesting shade of purple. What are you talking about? The plaza's ownership changes, for instance. Quite fascinating how a series of seemingly unrelated investment firms gradually acquired controlling interest. Or Metropolitan General's recent board restructuring. Did you know most of your shareholders sold their stakes last month? Sophia gripped Marcus's arm. She's lying. She's just a nanny who got lucky. Mom, Alexander interrupted. Just tell them. I stood addressing the room. For those who don't know me, I'm Dr. Olivia Sullivan, PhD, CEO of Sullivan Global Ventures, and as of Monday, majority shareholder of Metropolitan General, the Plaza Hotel, and several other enterprises previously held by the Harrison Family Trust. The silence was deafening. That's impossible, Marcus whispered. The quiet Asian woman taking notes in your board meetings? I raised an eyebrow. The one you never bothered to acknowledge. She wasn't a secretary, Marcus. She was your competition. Senator Maxwell started laughing. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I knew those acquisitions seemed too sophisticated for the usual players. Sophia collapsed into her chair, her perfect makeup unable to hide her shock. But the hospital, my position, is under review, I finished, along with your creative use of foundation funds. Though unsure the board will take into account any genuine remorse and commitment to change. Mom, Alexander touched my arm. You didn't have to wait so long to tell them. Sometimes, I straightened his bow tie again. People need to reveal their true character before they can learn from their mistakes. Maria appeared with fresh champagne, grinning openly now. Congratulations on the wedding, Dr. Sullivan, and on everything else. Thank you, Maria. I turned to the stunned crowd. Now shall we return to celebrating Alexander's special day? Though perhaps with some adjustments to the seating arrangements. As the guests buzzed with this juicy new gossip, Marcus approached me slowly. Olivia, I never meant to treat me like a servant, to let your wife humiliate the mother of your child. I met his eyes calmly. Actions have consequences, Marcus. Remember that at Monday's board meeting. The morning sun streamed through the plaza's windows as I sat in what was once Marcus's office, reviewing the final documentation for Monday's board meeting. The wedding aftermath had been exactly as dramatic as expected. A soft knock at the door revealed Alexander, still in his honeymoon suit. Mom, got a minute? Always for you. I set aside the papers. Shouldn't you be heading to Bali? Flight's in 3 hours. He sat down looking thoughtful. Dad and Sophia are in the lobby, asking to speak with you. Dad looks different, almost broken. I checked my watch, a habit from years of juggling multiple jobs. They're early. The board meeting isn't until Monday. I think they want to negotiate. Alexander leaned forward. Mom, how long have you been planning this? Since the day Sophia had security escort me out of your high school graduation. I smiled at the memory. She said I was embarrassing the family by wearing a clearance rack dress. That was the day I decided to buy the store chain she loved so much. And the hospital? The plaza? One piece at a time, over 15 years. I stood walking to the window. While they were focused on appearances, I was focused on substance. Every time they excluded me from an event, I acquired another share. Every time they seated me by the kitchen, I bought another company. The intercom buzzed. Dr. Sullivan, Mr. Harrison and Mrs. Harrison are here. Send them in. Marcus entered first, his usual confident stride replaced by hesitation. Sophia followed, her designer outfit noticeably subdued. Olivia, Marcus started, then corrected himself. Dr. Sullivan, We've been up all night discussing everything. Discussing your options, you mean? I gestured to the chairs. Please sit. Sophia remained standing. This is our family legacy you're destroying. No, Sophia. You destroyed it with your arrogance. I opened a file. Shall we discuss the $2 million in hospital foundation funds used for your personal expenses? She sank into a chair. Mom, Alexander interjected. Maybe there's a way to what, sweetheart? Allow them to continue mismanaging these institutions? I turned to Marcus. The plaza's staff hadn't received raises in 5 years. The hospital's nurse-to-patient ratio was dangerous. While you two focused on galas and social status, people suffered. We can change, Marcus said quietly. Give us a chance to prove it. I studied my ex-husband, the man who had once told me I'd never succeed without his family's connections. You'll both retain minor shares. Board positions will depend on your cooperation with the new policies. New policies? Sophia's voice quavered. Living wages for all staff, expanded healthcare coverage, educational assistance programs. I smiled at Alexander. The same opportunities I fought to give our son. And our positions? Marcus asked. You'll report to the board. Your decisions will be reviewed. And, I added pointedly, you'll treat every employee with respect, regardless of their title. Sophia stood abruptly. This is humiliating. More humiliating than marking the mother of the groom as former nanny at her son's wedding. Alexander's voice was sharp. More humiliating than making mom use service entrances for 15 years. Alexander, I touched his arm. They understand now, don't they? Marcus nodded slowly. We do. And I'm sorry, Olivia, for everything. Apology accepted. I handed them each a folder. These are your new contracts, if you choose to accept them. The terms are fair, though significantly different from your previous arrangements. And if we decline? Sophia asked. Then you'll receive fair market value for your remaining shares, and the board will thank you for your service. They exchanged glances, years of superiority crumbling under the weight of reality. We'll sign, Marcus said quietly. As they bent over the contracts, Alexander hugged me. I'm proud of you, Mom, though I wish you'd told me sooner. You needed to make your own way without the shadow of either fortune hanging over you. I straightened his collar one last time. Now go enjoy your honeymoon. The hospital will be in better shape when you return. After they all left, I stood at the window watching Manhattan's morning unfold. Maria appeared with coffee. The staff is celebrating Mrs. Dr. Sullivan, she grinned. Though some wish they could have seen their faces at the wedding when you revealed everything. Sometimes the best victories are the quiet ones. I sipped the coffee. How's the nursing program application coming along? Submitted last week. Her eyes shone. With the new education benefits, my daughter can finally follow her dreams. That's what this was all about. I sat at my desk, the same desk where Marcus had once told me to know my place. Making sure everyone has the chance to rise. The morning sun caught my simple pearl necklace, the first real piece of jewelry I bought myself after my company went public. Outside, a new day was dawning over Manhattan, and with it a new era for the empire I'd built through silence and determination. Sometimes the best revenge isn't the dramatic reveal, but the quiet triumph of proving them wrong, one success at a time.